One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host,
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Welcome back from the weekend, right here on One Mic with Big Mike. Appreciate each and every one of you for joining me tonight. Got a brand new microphone I'm working with tonight. Trying to get this thing calibrated correctly. So you guys won't have to listen to any distortion in my voice. Yeah, man. Weekend's over, man. And what a weekend. Especially if you're an NFL fan. We got the national championship in college football going on tonight. So, yeah, we're going to get in and get out tonight, man. We're not going to be here all night talking about any and everything. But I will make sure I get everything I got to say out. I will do that. Don't forget, you're hearing me via Spreaker.com and the Spreaker app for your mobile devices. Make sure you follow me there. All you got to do, sign up for your free, it is free, Spreaker account. And once you do that, search for my show, the number one, M-I-C, W-I-T-H-B-I-G, M-I-K-E. Give me a quick follow. Then you can listen to any episode of the show from today on back until I started in November. As well, make sure you guys, once you do listen to the show, click the little like button for me, the little heart or whatnot. And when you're checking in live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock, you can join my interactive chat room by simply clicking the little thought bubble at the bottom of the screen. You guys can get in the chat room and interact with me, interact with one another. You guys can, just do your thing. I don't know. If your old lady's bugging you, you can vent in the chat room. I don't mind. It's for everybody. I'm also on Facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. Yes, indeed. What a weekend. Weekend in sports. Funny thing happened to me on Saturday, man. I woke up and, sometimes I go to bed and I'm up late a lot. I don't go to bed very early. I mean, to the wee hours of the morning, I'm up. And I was up getting some work done, and a lot of times I have, this is going to sound weird, I have locked up on MSNBC, just kind of as ambient noise, you know what I mean? And so the next morning I wake up, I think it was either Saturday or Sunday, and I turn the television on, and it's still on MSNBC, and they're talking about the city of Flint, Michigan. Anybody listening in the Michigan area, Detroit, Flint, what up, stand up. They were talking about how the government, there's a state of emergency in Flint, Michigan, and government officials are going around and passing out water filters. And you say, what happened? A water main burst or something like that? No, it's 10 times worse than that. Apparently, what these people did in the name of saving money, they were getting their money from, I guess, Lake Michigan, one of those three lakes up there. But out of Detroit, to save money, they decided they were going to get the stuff from the river, the local river in Flint. Well, the problem with that is they weren't equipped with the proper material to sanitize the water. So apparently, people are up there with brown water, one, and the water has lead in it. And they spoke to a doctor, and something that she said kind of struck me in a certain way. And we'll get to the NFL stuff and college football tonight and all this kind of stuff here in a second. But I wanted to get this out while it hit my mind just now. So apparently, the problem with lead being in your water, other than the fact that it's toxic, and it's a known carcinogen, meaning it can cause cancer, she said this is something that can devastate generations of people. It ain't just like you'll get it, but generation, or you'll be affected by it, but the next generation. It's not even just as far as disease. She says it's been linked to criminality, your mental state of mind once that stuff gets into your system. And so I got to thinking, I was like, all right, what do I know about Flint, Michigan? Not a lot. So I went to the old wide world of web and looked up a few little statistics. I wanted to know, how poor the city is. Like, what's the median income? Yeah, it's like $22,000. So that tells you it's a poor part of town. And I want to know, per capita, how many, what's the minority situation looking like up there? Yeah, it's like the 13th blackest city in America. Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me. You know what I mean? They got a white mayor, and apparently he did some sort of demonstration before when people were telling him that, no, this ain't right. Something's wrong with the water. He sat up there, he drank a cup of water or whatever. First of all, it wasn't a clear cup, and second of all, nobody saw where he got the water from. So it could have came from a Deer Park bottle, and him just, doing one of those, those infomercial type deals. Where look how strong this glue is, and whatever. But he's a white man. And it struck me, it bothered me so much, not because of what happened or what was happening, not totally because of that, but it's things like that I'm always talking about, the things that go unseen or unheard of when people are in the streets and they're chanting and marching and they're carrying Black Lives Matter signs and all this kind of stuff. Like, this goes way beyond the spectrum of, now, the thing in Cleveland, it goes without saying, awful. Michael Brown, awful. Trayvon, all these things are awful, but we're talking about individuals, right? The stuff that's happening in Flint, based on what the doctor said, it's not even a group, or it's not even a one group or like a family thing. You're talking about generations. I don't know about you, but it's a bigger deal. It's a way, way bigger deal to me. And the people who have appointed themselves as leaders of the black community, it just shines light on one of the bigger problems that I have with that whole notion. That everybody's somebody when the lights are on, when the cameras are on. But yet, how many people have you heard? I've been on social media all day. How many people have you seen tweeting, talking about water filters having to be passed out? We talking about water, man. It's like water, air, and then food. Or like air, water, then food. Or like the three things in that order that human beings absolutely have. It's a necessity for our survival. And apparently, for what's going on in Flint, Michigan, they're being denied one of those things. And not only are they being denied it, well, they're being denied clean water. It's a slow death, man. Like I saw on TV the other day, apparently there's like a gas leak somewhere in some rural white part of the country, and those folks are up in arms. You know what I mean? Because of the fact that it's natural gas and it's leaking every damn where, and they can smell it and taste it and all this kind of stuff. And then two, the remedy to it, they're gonna bring in like incinerators to burn it out of the air, as though that's not a hazard in and of itself. But this little thing about Flint, Michigan, it was like on and it was off. There was no conversation about it. It just happened. Because apparently a few Brita water filters is going to solve the issue. It just kind of gets to me, like, when you talk about like Black Lives Matter, and it's not just black people who live in Flint, Michigan, I know that. But like I said, the majority of. And if you look throughout history, yeah, sometimes certain people are willing to sacrifice their own, in order to get whatever needs to be done in their minds done to the people they want to get it done to, or the people they want to do it to. Yeah, I don't know. Just open your eyes, man. Just, everything ain't got to be the most fascinating thing in the world. You see on tape a young boy playing with a toy gun and the police shoot him. Yeah. Any reasonable person sees that and says, damn, that's horrible. But it's always, to me, and if you listen to this show, you always hear me talk about, it's that layer under the layer, the thing that you don't see. that's happening, and happening on a much grander scale. You know what I mean? The fact that some rich white boy in Texas can kill 4 people and go home. But if my son, your black son, gets caught with a dime bag, he can go to jail for 10 years. See, that's what we need to do. I posted something on my Twitter, on my Instagram at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE, if you want to check it out. And it talks about, the difference in you wanting to lynch me and you having the power to lynch me. Those are 2 different things. We seem to be, at this point, at this stage in life, we seem to be caught up on people's wanting to be superior to us. There's no way in hell some backwoods busted truck redneck with a Confederate flag, I don't care what he called me, he ain't better than me. There's no type of supremacy going on there. No type of white supremacy going on there. He has no power until I give it to him. Until I get mad and want to bust his head open for calling me a nigga. Nah, that's ridiculous. I lose. Only I lose. I just wanted to get that out, man, because as soon as the mic came on, that came to my mind, and I didn't want to continue the show without properly addressing that, because I saw it. It was the first thing I saw. It must have been yesterday morning. First thing I saw yesterday morning, and it was like, damn, look what I'm waking up to. And granted, it was about 9:30, but like I said, I don't go to bed till like 3 or 4. I got up at like 9:30, turned over, put the TV on, and there's that. Like a systematic extermination of not only this generation, but generations to come. And when she said that thing about, it leads to criminality, I was like, damn, that's another win. Because if you don't know, a lot of these prisons are privately owned and traded on the stock market. So yeah, your black ass getting locked up, yeah, somebody's making money off of it. Bob Barker, everybody's favorite human being. Yeah, Bob Barker in California, he owns the company that supplies the prison system with toiletries, like toilet paper and combs and toothbrushes and toothpaste. Yeah. So every time some black kid or some Hispanic kid goes to jail in California, and I'm speaking on that level because if you haven't noticed or if you don't know about this, those are the races that are predominant in our jail system here in America. So, I know we got to get to the sports and all that kind of stuff, but that's my part. That's my motivation for doing this. So when things like that happen, it just don't get unnoticed. And I don't know how many people listen to this right now, and I don't know how many people will listen to it. But if 2 or 3 people hear it and they feel the need to, continue to draw attention to it, start a conversation at work or at the gym or at the grocery store, wherever you at, so that more people know about some of the crazy stuff that happens, man, that just, it becomes a blip on the radar, and then we move on. It's Wild Card Sunday. You got to get to that, right? Yeah, of course, but zoom out a little bit. Round out. Don't be so square. Round out a little bit. Be able to consume things from different areas of life. Feel me? But as far as today's show goes, don't forget, I need your predictions for the winner of this year's Super Bowl 50. And to incentivize you to give me those predictions via my Twitter account, the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE, One Mic with Big Mike. My Twitter or my Instagram, they're both the same. Or via my Facebook page, facebook.com, ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. To incentivize you, I got some New Era hats, some brand new Era, and I think it's 2 or 3 Mitchell & Ness snapback hats for you to check out, and you can pick whichever one you want to. Just choose the winner of the Super Bowl. If 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, multiple people pick the same team, like if somebody says, I think the Steelers are going to win, the Steelers win the Super Bowl, what I'll just do a drawing. And maybe I'll draw like 2 or 3 names. I hadn't thought about that part yet. But I'll just do a drawing and get back to you via your DM whether it be Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. I'll get back to you privately, get your information, and I'll mail you out a brand new hat. And I'll let you, I have the pictures up so you guys can choose whichever hat you want. This, of course, first come, first serve. As far as today's show goes, of course, at the bottom of the hour, coming back from the break, we'll do our daily look back at the world of sports and the history, the annals of the world of sports. We call it on this day. And, of course, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about yesterday and Saturday, this wild card weekend in the NFL. And we'll talk about the games, but some of the things that transpired within the game, some of the aftermath following some of these games had some crazy, crazy endings, man, in these ball games. So we'll mull over that. Is that the word? Mull? Whatever. We'll get through it. Some other little small NFL topics as well. We got to talk about tonight's NCAA. Not even NCAA. It's not. By the way, in case you didn't know, the football championship is not controlled by the NCAA. It's controlled by an organization, I think, in Delaware. I read that today. So we'll talk about the game a little bit. Not really, because I'm not about to break down this damn game. It's the two best teams in the land, Alabama and Clemson, and we'll, by tomorrow we'll know who the champion is. I'm not, I don't really have a pick. I think Alabama's probably the best team overall, but I will say this: if you didn't notice by watching NFL football this past weekend, the teams with the bum quarterbacks didn't really do as well, and you get the feeling that Jacob Coker, the Alabama quarterback, he may have shot his load in the semifinals. You know what I mean? That kid played the best game he's ever played in life in that semifinals game against Michigan State. The odds of him coming back 11 days later and duplicating that performance against this Clemson squad, who, let's call them better. Based on the fact that they hadn't lost a game, based on the fact that they're in the championship game, let's call them better than Michigan State. The odds of him being able to do that again, we'll see. You know what I mean? I think Clemson's going to be without one of their big corners, which is going to be, that's going to be bad. Because you got to assume the game plan is going to be to gang up against the run, stop Derrick Henry, and make Jacob Coker beat you. But the problem is, when I watch Alabama on the outside, that speed looks crazy. It looks different than everybody else's. I don't know if the uniforms or if they're really just that fast, but it just looks different, So that's pretty much the breakdown of the game for me, But there's some auxiliary things surrounding this game, man. Financially, some prominent people speaking on some things they think maybe should be done. To flex a little muscle, if we can say it that way. So I want to definitely talk about that as well. Nothing really locally to talk about, in sports. Obviously the Falcons did not make the playoffs. The Hawks hadn't played since, I don't know. I think they played yesterday, right? They played the Bulls, but, or Saturday, one of those days. It might have been Saturday. But I didn't get to see the game. I forgot it was on, and I was watching football, and, that happened. I was doing a bunch of things on Saturday. I actually taught myself how to edit video. Like, this dude called me one day a couple weeks ago, and he wanted to know if I could do a TV commercial for him. And I was like, well, nah, I don't do that. And then I called one of my dudes to give him a price on it, and when I found out what dudes is charging for that, now if you don't know, you probably don't know, but I'll tell you. My paid job, I voice radio commercials. I voice and produce radio commercials. Audio, though. Well, obviously, if it's on radio, audio commercials. But now I found out, like, dudes is getting broke off for these video joints, man. It is, I see why, because it is a much more extensive process. There's a lot more to it than with the audio, but still, So I spent a couple days teaching myself how to do it, and I actually pulled it off. I actually saw some tutorials online and just kind of figured out, playing around with the thing, figured out how to do it. So that's what I was doing while the Hawks were playing. So I couldn't go back and forth between the Hawks game and the football game. So, there's that. I got better. I don't know if the Hawks did or not, but I did. I got better. Where was I? Oh, so yeah, nothing really going on locally except the fact that I think the Giants have they're interviewing former Falcons coach Mike Smith. So if you want to call that local, have at it. But yesterday, this is One Mic with Big Mike on Spreaker.com, SPREAKER.com, and the Spreaker app for all of your mobile devices, your Apple, Android, your Windows, whatever you got. You go ahead and download that joint. Make sure you follow me by signing up for your free Spreaker account and searching for my show, the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. So Saturday, let's start Saturday, because really that Chiefs Texans thing, I probably should have been watching the Falcons game. The Hawks game. Oh, I had some chips and salsa before the show. Ugh, probably shouldn't have done that. But anyway, started off now Davis, right? 105 yard kickoff return, which really game was over. 12 seconds into the game was pretty much over. And anytime you're watching a football game and Alex Smith, the best quarterback on the field, yeah, you're in for a night, man. You're in for a day. Because I do not enjoy watching Alex Smith play football, not one iota. I don't care what nobody tells me. This dude ain't threw for 200 yards since, I was 12. 200. I ain't say 3, 200. And I heard Colin Cowherd today talking about he's just as much of an athlete as Russell Wilson and all that kind of stuff. Here's the difference. When needed, and this is what's going to hurt Kansas City, if they ever need that kid to start throwing the ball for them to win a ball game, game over. He's like the Georgia Tech of quarterbacks. Game over. The other ridiculous thing, I understand, what's the kid's name? Brian. What's it? The kid the quarterback for the Texans. I have no reason to know his name. You know what I mean? To even try to remember it. Hoyer. Dang, I did it anyway. Yeah, Brian Hoyer. Okay, he's playing bad. He was having a rough night of it. That dude's been concussed 4 or 5 times this year. Whatever. You put him in the biggest game of the season, which, come on. All things remaining equal, no one wanted to see the Texans. If there were any other alternative than seeing the Texans in a damn playoff game with Brian Hoyer and Brandon Weeden backing him up. Goodness gracious alive. So he's having a terrible game. But then you get down to the goal line and you take the kid out and you don't put in some, fast speed guy or some change of pace quarterback. Put in J.J. Watt and Vince Wilfork to run your goal line play. No one thinks they're going to do anything but run the football and try to power it in. And then, by the way, you find out later on, this dude got a bump. J.J. Watt got a bum groin. So, needless to say, today, a bunch of assistants got fired from the Texans. You know what I mean? People lost their jobs behind that foolishness, man. And as soon as I saw that happen, I was like, why am I... the only reason for me to watch that game is because I knew I was going to need to come on TV, on radio today, on the internet today, and do some sort of talking about it. You know what I mean? But, yeah, my God. That was, I started to name this show today, now that we're done with the bum quarterbacks, but we're really not, because Alex Smith is still there. I don't give a damn what nobody said about them winning 11 games. Have you seen that defense? Have you seen that pass rush? Hello. Yeah. Give me a break on the whole Alex Smith situation. I'm fine. This kid, luckily for him, the one thing that an average quarterback relishes in is having a great tight end. And this Travis Kelce kid, outstanding. Out-freaking standing at the tight end position. Right? Then you got Jeremy Maclin, who, he came in and showed his worth. I think Jeremy Maclin ended up with double-digit touchdowns this year, when last year they couldn't find a damn wide receiver for a touchdown. Alex Smith once again, the check down king, the game manager of all game managers. And I'm saying it in a negative term. Like, I'm not the guy who always says that with a negative connotation, but in his case, I definitely do. So who do they go play next week? Oh, they got to go play, a real quarterback in Tom Brady, who's getting Julian Edelman back, the best small white slot receiver ever. No, I'm not. I'm being hyperbolic. I mean, but yeah, he's Tom Brady's. He's his ignition switch. He starts that offense, man, because they don't have no damn running back. They got Gronk. They don't have no damn wide receivers either. They got Tom Brady and Edelman, and like sometimes Amendola act like he want to play, but that's pretty much it for them offensively. And then, wait, was that yesterday? It seems like this was, golly, it seemed like it was yesterday, but it wasn't, was it? The Steelers and the Bengals? Because, yeah, that was Saturday. God, because all day today, that's all they've been talking about, the Steelers and the Bengals. And I don't know. That game in and of itself, it felt a little bit collegiate, especially on the side of the Bengals, where, I'm always talking about, if you hear me talk about college football, there's a term I use a lot, that emotional immaturity that comes with college sports. In the NCAA, the reason these cats cannot hit free throws down the stretch to save their damn lives, yeah, that's why. It's just that emotional immaturity, like every next thing is the biggest thing ever in your life. You know what I mean? And like, it's not like a character flaw. It's just a nature flaw. You know what I mean? It's that thing that we all go through, and very, very few guys don't like guys like Vince Young. You saw what Vince Young did in that what was it, the Rose Bowl against USC. Like, that's a dude who embraced the moment. The moment was just it. It was, every moment was its own. It's not like this is the biggest thing ever collectively. And you see him play to the height of his ability. To as high as he can play, he played to the height of his ability, but didn't try to go over that. What you saw with the Bengals yesterday was a bunch of guys, man, who looked like they were surprised. Vontae Burfict. Guys like, even on offense, man. Like, we've seen, like, A.J. Green made a big catch towards the end of that game, but before that, A.J. Green has disappeared a couple times, man, when the Bengals have needed him. Now, of course, last year he was out with a concussion, and, that was unfortunate, but even before that, when everyone was focused on Andy Dalton, like, their other main guy on offense, A.J. Green, he ain't always shown up, man. He ain't always been the guy who liked to dance on the main stage. You feel me? Yeah, he's more comfortable in the back room. Well, like, somewhere with the clients he knows the best. Am I making too many stripper references? Well, anyway. Tell you what, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back and talk about this game, because I got to get to the NFC side of things as well, and then get to this college football game before we get up out of here. I keep saying we. Maybe I'm talking about you guys, too, you guys out there. Don't forget, speaking of we can be all in this at Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, and the Spreaker app. Go ahead and download that for all your mobile devices. You can take me with you. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 until I'm done. Just sign up for your free Spreaker account. It's just like signing up for Twitter or Snapchat and all these things. Who couldn't use one more thing, right? Search for my show, the number 1, MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. And then every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like I said, at 7 o'clock, you guys can join me in the chat room and relay your thoughts to me. Let me know what's going on with you, what your sports preferences are, and all these kind of things. You can also use that handle for my Twitter and Instagram as well. Like I said, we're going to come back. We'll do On This Day. And we'll get back into the Steelers and Bengals thing, because I got a couple of interesting points to hit from this game, and then we'll get into the NFC games that happened on yesterday as well. This is One Mic with Big Mike.
Go Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse!
Let's go, guys.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Wow, Jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys. Did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh. I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online for like a year. She couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Wow, that's kind of loud. But Drizzy Drake, right here on One Mic with Big Mike. I am, of course, Big Mike. I'll be here with you for a few more minutes now. I'm gonna get out of here. Try to get out of here before the game starts tonight, because I don't want to create that conflict where you guys have to make that oh so hard decision as to whether you're gonna hang out with me or watch the game we've been waiting on all year for. Is that what I want to say? All year for? Either way. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE, One Mic with Big Mike, and like my Facebook page, facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. Same thing, One Mic with Big Mike, except for one. With Twitter and Instagram, you just use the number 1. With Facebook, you got to spell out ONE. Also, don't forget, give me your guesses, your predictions on who will win this year's Super Bowl 50. Once you do that, send it to me you can send it to me either regularly, at me, is that right? Mention me, at me, all those things. And what I'll do after the game on Super Bowl, I'll pick a couple of names. You guys can choose which one of these brand new era or Mitchell & S caps. I forget what I got. I got some A hats. I got some Hawks joints. The LA Dodgers hat that's really sick. I'm even considering keeping that one, to be honest with you. It's like that electric blue with that Volt green in it. Yeah, it's pretty special, man. It's on point. So yeah, do that. Spread the word. Tell your friends they can do it as well. Just a little appreciation. Just me showing my appreciation for you guys who hang out with me, who take the time to download the show, or you listen live, or you stream the show when I'm not live. All those things, man. I want to show my appreciation and try to also try to grow my audience, man. Try to hopefully I'm saying some of the things that matter to me matter to you guys as well, and I'm saying the things that you guys can appreciate hearing. Not necessarily that you like to hear, because that ain't really what I'm here for. Not to tell you the things you like to hear, but hopefully things that you can appreciate hearing. Before we move any further, I'm gonna get back to talking about the NFL playoffs this weekend, and then move forward into talking about tonight's game between the Clemson Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide, the national championship game. But before that, let's take a look back.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, let's go ahead and motor through this Monday edition, this January 11th, 2016 edition of On This Day. On this day in 1953, J. Edgar Hoover, yes, the former boss of the FBI, he actually declined a 6-figure offer to become the president of the International Boxing Club. Yeah, there was injustice to hold up and assassinations to carry forth, and Black Panther parties to dismember. But see, just go back to something else I always tell you guys about. How boxing at one point in this country, it was a prestigious thing. It was a very, very prestigious thing, man, where only the elite or the wealthy and the well-to-do people got a chance to participate in it on that level. We ain't talking about like, on Django Mandingo fighting. I'm talking about real official boxing. On this day in 1973, the American League adopted the designated hitter rule. So that's when that started in 73. On this day in 1984, the Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs played the highest scoring game in NBA history at that point. The Denver Nuggets had 163. The San Antonio Spurs had 155. Damn. Over 300 points between two teams. On this day in 1987, the largest crowd ever in New York Giants Stadium was in the building as the Giants beat Washington 17-0. That number of people in attendance, 76,633 people. It's it's a pretty good number now. But now you got stadiums, 100,000, 90,000 people like Jerry's joint out there. Yeah. On this day in 1987, this is the day. This is the anniversary. Cleveland Browns fans, cover your ears. Yeah, this is the anniversary of the drive. While trailing the Cleveland Browns 20-13 with only 5 minutes and 32 seconds remaining in the AFC Championship. Like the way they pumped this game up. Like I was young. I was just say 87. What was I? 10 years old? I was 9. I wasn't even 10 yet. You know what I mean? But the more you hear about it, you feel like John Elway had like 90 seconds on the clock. They do had 5 minutes. Like really, there was still 2 possessions to be had in this game, depending on how many timeouts they had. Anyway, trailing the Cleveland Browns 20-13 with only 5 minutes and 32 seconds remaining in the AFC Championship game, and the ball at their own 2-yard line. I guess that's the biggest deal, how deep they were. Denver Broncos quarterback John Elway, he is now the president of the Broncos. He drove his team 98 yards for a touchdown to tie the game, which the Broncos won in overtime to advance to Super Bowl 21. I guess that's XXI 21. Yeah, Cleveland. Like this is like that Eric Dyson play with the Titans. People say, man, they were 1 yard away from being Super Bowl winners. No, they weren't. If I remember correctly, they had to score that, and they still had to tie the game after that, just to go to overtime. There was no guarantee that they won. Same thing here. John Elway tied the game. They didn't win the game on that drive. On this day in 1990, Bobby Knight became basketball's Big Ten winningest coach with 229 victories. I read something that last week they had like a anniversary celebration for those national championship teams or something at Indiana, and Bob Knight, he was like, yeah, F you guys, you fired me. I ain't coming to jack. And you fired my son. Good for him. Being old and holding grudges. I can't wait to get to that point in life. On this day, not to the holding grudges part, I already do that. I'm talking about like the old part. On this day in 1991, Ben Johnson's first race after being stripped of his 1988 Olympic gold medal for steroid use, he finished second in that race. And that's a big deal because he medaled, but in contrast to how bad he was beating cats, you know what I mean? Like second, you might as well finish last, like Ricky Bobby, either your first or your last when you're on roids. On this day in 1995, the NHLPA and the owners agree to end the NHL strike. On this day in 2002, Muhammad Ali, he receives his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Big up to Muhammad Ali. On this day in 2004, the famous 4th and 26. For you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, while trailing the Green Bay Packers by 3 in the NFC divisional playoff game, the Philadelphia Eagles faced 4th and 26 on their final drive when Donovan McNabb hit Freddie Mitchell for a 29-yard catch. The Eagles would tie the game and go on to win in overtime, another overtime game, right? And the game which afterwards, Freddie Mitchell, he's like the first one who was really rocking those bow ties. Post like Malcolm X in the Nation, but yeah, he's the guy who thanked his hands at the press conference for being so great. On this day in 2010, Mark McGwire, admitted that he used steroids on and off for nearly a decade. The time frame included the 1998 season when he broke the then single-season home run record. Yeah. On this day in 2014, arbitrator Frederick Horowitz, he reduced Alex Rodriguez's drug suspension from 211 games to what would amount to an entire season, which would be 162 games, which is why A-Rod was able to play last season for the playoff mound, as a matter of fact. I wonder, did he win comeback player of the year? He should have, be honest with you, the way he played. But anyway, that is your Monday evening edition of On This Day. All right, this is One Mic with Big Mike. Don't forget, Spreaker.com is where I'm at, SPREAKER.com, or the app every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Make sure you guys tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will be giving away in under a month now. Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl, all you got to do is predict who will win the Super Bowl. Tweet it to me or Instagram it to me in a picture form or whatnot at the number 1, MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. You can send it to my Facebook page as well, ONEMIC, WITHBIGMIKE. And then after the Super Bowl's over, if a couple of you guys have guessed that particular team, if it's more than a couple, I'll just put them in a hat, draw a few names, and I will ship you guys out a brand new Michelin S or New Era snapback hat, just to show my appreciation for you guys, hanging with me and chilling with me, man. But we got to get back to talking about Wild Card Weekend in the NFL, right? I was talking about, I'm going to keep saying we, because I'm not going to be able to stop. We, as in you and I, talking about the Bengals and the Steelers game. That it got kind of rowdy out there. It turned into something. I said collegiate earlier. It was more high schoolish, because I remember those days in high school, man. You couldn't lose the game, or if you did lose the game, you had to win the fight afterwards. You know what I mean? It was like one of those type of things. So the game starts, and early in the game, on the sideline, there was a close play on the sideline, and one of the coaches for the Pittsburgh Steelers got a penalty for what looked like kind of like he pulled Reggie Nelson's hair. He had long dreadlocks, like he pulled his hair. But what it looked like to me is that Reggie Nelson was running out of bounds, and the coach tried to catch him. And just because of the temperature of the game, I don't mean the weather, but just how everything was kind of at that simmer, ready to boil. He catches him, but as he's catching him, he grabs him and his hair at the same time. Like he didn't, and then when Reggie Nelson goes to pull away, you see his hair, in the coach's hands. So I hope I'm describing this correctly, but he ended up getting the penalty because Reggie Nelson took offense to it. Obviously, he felt his hair tug, but not realize. I'm sure after he watched the film, he realized the dude didn't grab his hair and try to tug his hair or nothing like that. It wasn't that serious, but just because of the tenor and the way, the game has started. And for what I heard was, so many of the players were so excited and so, oh my God, breaking news, yeah, Vontae Burfict, they gave him 3 games to start next season for what happened in the game. And I'll get to what happened in a second, but Vontae Burfict got 3 games starting next season, man. Of course, he'll appeal and hopefully get that reduced, but that seems to be, I don't know, is Vontae Burfict is he a repeat offender at things like that, like the helmet-to-helmet type of situation? Or is this another one of those, we're the NFL, watch us overreact to the public reaction of what happened? And so speaking of Vontae Burfict, let's talk about him. Let's talk about the game he played yesterday. There was a sack on Ben Roethlisberger late in the game where Vontae Burfict, he did what used to be acceptable. And I'm not talking about the actual play that he made or the tackle that he made on Ben, but there used to be this is a common theme defensively that our chances as a team are better if their star quarterback isn't in the game. Take that how you want to take it, but just understand that's real. So when you get your shots, take them. And we ain't talking about, blindside nobody on the side of their knee and nothing like that. But like I said, the Vontae Burfict thing, right there. So first big play by him. Second big play, Landry Jones has to come in the game. Mike Vick is inactive, by the way. The third quarterback. He's inactive. So it's Landry Jones or bust is what you might think. Because when he sacked Ben Roethlisberger, he had to go out of the game with a shoulder injury. Landry Jones throws an interception to Vontae Burfict. Now, see, here's like the emotional immaturity that I'm talking about. Like, instead of him getting the interception and understand there's plenty of football left to play, he gets the football, gets up and runs into the tunnel, like as to signify this game's over. We going home. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Even to the point where Jim Nantz was wondering, wait a minute, was he even down by contact when he intercepted the football? Because he ran through the other team's end zone, which would have been, of course, a safety. Well, he was down or whatever. So the Bengals come out, still got A.J. McCarron quarterbacking. So, but I think the Steelers had two timeouts still. So they weren't dead, but they would have gotten the ball back between like 25 seconds or so if the Bengals would just hand the ball off. Well, that was the plan. The plan was to just hand the football off. They handed the football off to Jeremy Hill, who has a history of fumbling the football. And wouldn't you know, it's wet out there. That ball, they're using it's a playoff, so they're using a lot more footballs, from what I understand. In the playoffs, the Super Bowl, they use more. So the balls are slick. They're not worn in. They're not worn or rubbed in. They're slick. So it's almost like, and then people will look at it and say, "Oh man, how could you in that situation?" Easily, these dudes on the other side of the football, the defenders, they get paid money too. So they're ripping at the football, and it's kind of one of those things that if you don't have it just right, the way you're taught, you can squeeze that thing as much as you want to. But sometimes, if your arms are wet, whether it be sweat, in this case sweat and rain, you squeezing it, and it's like a greased pig. Never really had a greased pig, but I can imagine how it would be. You squeezing it, and the more you squeezing it, you're actually squeezing it out of your own arms. And so Jeremy Hill fumbles. Ryan Shazier causes the fumble, and it's like, oh hell, the game ain't over. Well, that from that point on, Ben Roethlisberger's on the sideline now. He's like, I ain't having none of this crap. There's no way in hell I go home on the arm of Landry Jones. So Ben comes in the game. Obviously, he's gonna give his team a lift, more belief. They got to go somewhere between 50 yards or so to get in a comfortable field goal range. Ben, you could tell his shoulder's not 100%, so he's checking the ball down. They're playing a lot of I didn't understand this part either. I didn't understand why they weren't trying to test Ben a little bit more. I'm not saying play zero coverage with no safety in the middle, but maybe some two-man, two safeties high, man-to-man across, and make him beat you over the top, at least on one play. Not consistently, of course, because you don't know. You don't know where the arm is. You just know he's back in the game. So, okay, there's that. So he goes to throw a ball to Antonio Brown. Vontae Burfict. You're going to hear his name again right now. I feel that he could have pulled up and not hit Antonio Brown, but again, that emotion, like the game it seemed to have been too big for him. You know what I mean? It just felt like it may have been just too big for Vontae Burfict. What's his name? Vontae Burfict, right? So he hits him, and here's the part that everyone is missing. You know what I mean? The fact that he knows if he hits this kid helmet to helmet, it's going to be a problem, right? But he feels like maybe I get away with this if I turn and hit him with my shoulder. Well, he does. He turns and hit, and he turns to just get him with his shoulder. But as he's doing that, his initial aim is at the body of Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown sees the contact coming because it's happening pretty late, in my estimation. So he's able to see it coming, but your natural reaction is to what? Then duck. So then his head goes down. Vontae Burfict, look at the play again. They've been showing it all day. He's not looking at him anymore. He's basically shooting blind now. He's shooting at the last thing he saw. So when Antonio Brown ducks, his head then contacts Vontae Burfict's shoulder pad, which causes that like whiplash motion. He ends up on the ground. There are differing reports as to whether he was knocked out or not. Adam Jones was on Dan Patrick this morning saying that Antonio Brown got a winking at him as to say, like, I got y'all. Like, he kind of and you can see him on the ground moving around. Like, he didn't have what my guy Jason Goff calls the concussion arms, where he seizes up. Nah, he didn't have that. His man was trying to help him up. You could see, I don't know if it was Martavis Bryant or whoever it was, the other wide receiver, trying to help him up and talking to him when he was on the ground. So he wasn't out cold. You know what I mean? But, again, it's one of those things that in that situation, in that moment, where I'm a big defender of, cutting dudes some slack when it's so bang bang. This seemed to be like 2.5, 3 steps, and then you went ahead and took your shot, man, and it just turned out bad. So that escalated. That's 15 yards off the rip. Now they're in field goal range. Well, kind of. They're getting close. But then there's this other minor melee that happens, and Joey Porter, former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker, now linebacker coach, he's on the field. He's egging on the I'm gonna call them Ravens, the Bengals. Adam Pac-Man Jones, of course. This story can't end without him being involved. He said that he's asking why the hell is he able to be on the field? Because the referees are in, and then I guess from what they're saying, Adam made contact with a referee, so then he gets flagged for another 15. That's 30. They're definitely in field goal range now. And then it happened. The field goes up. It's good. The Bengals are going home. Marvin Lewis now loses his 7th straight first-round playoff game. And, the Jeremy Hill fumble, it happens, man. It's unfortunate. At the time it happens, you got a kid who I used to like. Guys used to talk about all the time, like running backs with big arms. It being like you look at Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson has a fumbling problem. He got those big arms. And it's harder to actually 5-point that football when your bicep is like huge like that. And Jeremy Hill ain't no small dude. You know what I mean? He's not. So, those things happen, but it's everything that happened after that. And you know why those things happen? Because you assumed that ball game was over. When it's the playoffs, man, and if you watch the playoffs in any year, teams ain't ready to go home. Like if you realize what, first of all, playoff bonuses were money wise, like damn, the championship and the chance to win championships and all that kind of stuff. That's why even bad teams. That's why like the Texans, they want to be there. Like, there's dudes on those teams. I remember my boy Corey telling me this a long time ago when he was in the league. Like, it's dudes that, if you play like 3 playoff games, it's dudes that double their salaries for the entire year in 3 games. It's a big deal. So dudes ain't trying to go home and dudes ain't trying to give up. Now, in that Texans game, yeah, whatever. It wasn't no chance coming back. Like, by the third quarter, you knew this thing was over, right? But in a game that's this highly contested, I'm talking about the Steelers and the Bengals. Hell no. Dudes is going to fight for every little bitty thing. Now, speaking of fighting for things, after the game was over with, we got like 6 minutes left in this segment. We'll do the NFC stuff and the college football stuff, in the next half hour and get up out of here. Boomer Esiason said something very, very pointed after the game was over with. And it made me think about my conversation on Friday as it related to Stephen A. Smith. Now, Stephen A. Smith was talking about Lovie Smith being fired, and I'm not that dude needs to be fired guy. I'm not that dude. But, Cat made a very astute point, that at a certain point, when does the coaching sink in? When we talk about the stuff with Pac-Man, the stuff with Vontaze Burfict, dudes just losing their cool in the most critical moments of the biggest ball game of your year. Now, we always talk about things like players or the team taking on the personality of their coach. Well, look at what happened at the end of that ball game. And think about everything that you think you know about Marvin Lewis. That's not his personality. He seems to be a pretty meek, mild-mannered guy. Of course, he's a football coach, so he had some fire in him. We've seen them dudes on Hard Knocks. Haven't we seen Marvin Lewis on Hard Knocks multiple times? Wasn't he on Hard Knocks when he was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens as well? Yeah. So you kind of get a gauge of what his personality is. But his team hasn't seemed to adopt that calm demeanor. And in saying that, can you draw the parallel between what happened on Saturday and his team basically not receiving him having a talented team, but him really not being the true leader of that team? For good or bad, however you want to slice it, So I was expecting to wake up Sunday morning like, man, Marvin Lewis just got the axe, cuz 7 straight playoff appearances. You can say it that way, or you can say 7 straight first-round playoff exits, with what a lot of people call, the most talented roster in the NFL. One of them, at least. Of course, the fact that Andy Dalton wasn't there, that may have saved his life, or saved his job. The fact that he didn't have his starting quarterback. Today heard Herm Edwards talking about that any player, like Herm is still on that like I played in the 60s type nonsense. Like any player he's talking about Odell Beckham and Vontaze Burfict, you get a personal foul, you coming out the gate, you're going to be right next to me. Well, hold on, cuz. You watching dudes getting fired after 1 year, 2 years. Who got that kind of job security? Even Tom Coughlin, when it all came down to it, knew his job is in jeopardy and was like, look, the dude's out there fighting, but here's the thing. He's my best player on offense. I can't take him out the game. To the point where after the game, he even admitted to he thought about it and said, nah, we need this dude to win the game. That's the mentality. Like, Herm, this is not the 70s or the 60s or whenever, where the implications are just singular. Well, I'm gonna show this kid a lesson. No, because what you're doing inevitably is like Vontaze Burfict is a baller. Let's not get it twisted. So yeah, you take him out the game and replace him with who? Somebody of equal talent and playmaking ability? The odds are no. So it's the rock and the hard place situation, and all these things that you're talking about doing during the game. I would venture to say they should be done well in advance. Training camp, mini camps. You get that message across early in the process that this can't be the reason we lose ball games, because dudes can't keep their cool. And then Herm want to talk about, that's why I'm so against these fights, because these fights in training camp don't do anything. Well, if you remember, Cam Newton and Josh Norman fought on the Panthers. They damn near went undefeated. So there's no magical potion or recipe to whether fighting during training camp galvanizes a team or fighting during training camp splits a team up. You heard the Redskins talk about their joint practice with the Texans, right? Guys talking about how, they found out, they realized then that everyone had each other's back. I guess they didn't know it before. The Redskins, I mean. So, people draw different things from different places, but understanding the severity and the seriousness of your situation, yeah, I think that's bigger. That's bigger than just, I've got these personal vendettas. Because what ends up happening is, you got to go home, man. You know what I mean? Your money stopped coming. You got no chance of winning the championship. You don't know what the hell's going to happen next year. That's 7 free agents on the squad, man. 7 guys that contribute to your success this year going to be gone. Now what? This is One Mic with Big Mike. We're going to come back. We're going to try to do at least another half hour right up to game time here for the national championship game. We got to talk about these NFC games that happened yesterday, as well as give you a couple of thoughts that I had, and give you guys some insight on an article I read today. And Tom Brady's agent is the star of this article. Yeah, it should be interesting. I'll be back in a minute.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
When is the best time to talk to your family about staying in touch during a disaster? When floodwaters reach your door? When wildfires are engulfing the edge of your neighborhood? Or an earthquake is destroying buildings? When a tornado is tearing through town? Or a hurricane strikes? Or is the best time perhaps today? During a disaster, you may not be able to stay in touch with your family or friends as easily as you think. And it's not always as simple as using your cell phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Welcome back. Let's go ahead and get in and get out. You know what I mean? Got this national championship game coming up tonight. Got to make sure I get all that. Plus, I got some work to do, man. I gotta make some money tonight. Oh, God. Bills have to be paid, don't they? This is One Mic with Big Mike once again. Spreaker.com is where I'm being heard, and the Spreaker app for all your mobile devices. Make sure you guys sign up for your free Spreaker accounts and follow my show, the number 1, MIC, WITHBIG. MIKE, and when I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 p.m., you guys can jump on in the interactive chat room and share your thoughts with me and give me your critique on the job I'm doing, or you can talk amongst one another, or you can just vent. If you got personal problems, you need like a confessional, I'll let your boy, man. I don't have no collar or nothing. I ain't really religiously affiliated, but, I'll help you out. I'll give you some sound, well thought out advice. Maybe. Also, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at the same handle, the number 1, MIC, WITHBIG, MIKE, and Facebook.com/ONEMIC, WITHBIG, MIKE is the site or is the address to my Facebook page. All right, we just got through talking about the Saturday games, the AFC Championship games, which leave us with matchups of Kansas City going to New England and Ben Roethlisberger, maybe, because, he got the shoulder thing. I mentioned Vontaze bust that shoulder up a little bit going to see Peyton Manning. Yes, the Peyton Manning-led Denver Broncos at Mile High. They could be without Antonio Brown as well because apparently he was, from what I understand today, in concussion protocol, out of concussion protocol. Now, Pac-Man Jones said he was faking, so now he's in the concussion protocol. Slow it down and say it in English. Concussion protocol again. I don't know if it's again, but he may have just been in there the entire time. So that's that. Now on to yesterday's games. Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings. And once again, the better quarterback is who? Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? A game in which was, it was cold as hell, man. You shouldn't have expected a whole lot. Luckily, you got that nice highlight from Doug Baldwin, the one-handed catch. You had the Russell Wilson play where he said he was changing the play, and the home field advantage kind of played into the Vikings' favor for a minute, causing the center to snap the ball. Russell Wilson wasn't ready for it, but as calm and as cool as that kid is, man, and you ever notice, you watch that kid, how strong he is, and it's not even really evident all the time in the plays that he makes, but the plays that don't get made, like the balls that he's able to not take the sack. Like, he can hold the ball like a second longer than a lot of quarterbacks can, because even when you have him in your grasp as a defender, he's strong enough to free his arm and throw that football away, man, saving his team that sack yardage. He did it again with that errant snap. That was a 17-yard loss, man. That dude ends up picking the ball up. They end up in the red zone with Tyler Lockett, which I'm surprised they even caught that kid as fast as he is. You know what I mean? So we all, if you've watched any type of television today, sports-wise, you know how the game ended. Blair Walsh, that TBS boy, that tight booty syndrome, had a chip shot extra point field goal to send the Minnesota Vikings to the next round, and he Lance Stevenson that thing, boy. He blew it. He blew it. But here, I'll say this, you know what I mean? I'll continue to say the better team won. The team with the better quarterback won. And it goes to something that I'm always talking about. The value of the running back in the NFL. Adrian Peterson, yeah, he's the best running back in the NFL, but, who cares about the skinniest kid at fat camp? Who cares? Because what you're seeing, name me the running back for the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. The New England Patriots, anybody know who their running back is? What about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Them, Kansas City Chiefs. Nobody even remembers Jamal Charles right now. Oh, what about the Carolina Panthers? Yeah. Jonathan Stewart out. What about Fozzie? What's the boy's name? Fozzie Whitaker, the kid from Auburn. I think he's out too, right? Yeah, they got Fat Mike Tolbert. We know him. Good luck. Yeah. Yeah, when you start listing running backs from best to worst, where does Mike Tolbert end up in your list? I'll hang up and listen. You know what I mean? It's sad to say, but you can be as great a runner as you want to be. But the NFL has figured out that, hey, we don't have to draft these dudes in the first round and pay them money. Let's go in the third and fourth and get like 3 of them. You know what I mean? While we at it, let's get like 2 or 3 of them and just put them in, make 3 dudes into 1. So good luck, Adrian Peterson, coming back next year. And this whole thing about him being so freakish and all that stuff, yeah, Father Time gonna have something to say about it. He sure will. And you saw what happened yesterday, man. In that weather, you forced Teddy Bridgewater to make plays that he shouldn't really be forced to make. And then Adrian Peterson, to me, it looked like he wasn't trusting the line in front of him, and he was more so mentally just giving the benefit of the doubt to the Seattle. You know how you had those Ravens defenses and those Bucks defenses of the 2000s and those great defenses throughout history that getting off the bus, they're already in your head. So you see Adrian Peterson really not pressing holes a lot, jump stopping a little bit too much, trying to get outside, and then having to take another jump stop to get back inside to where the initial hole was supposed to be. Nah, that ain't happening. Them dudes too fast and too sound. They waiting on you every time. Instead of just putting your head down and getting your three, man. Too many times, man, he ended up losing 4 or 5 yards on play, trying to make something small into something big against a defense that don't give up no points. Once again, the name of the game. I don't care, yardage, third down conversions. They don't let people in the end zone. That don't happen. So the Seattle Seahawks once again move on under the, on the back of their quarterback, man. Russell Wilson is a maniac. And it's almost like the more you give this dude, the worse he is. Like you bring in Percy Harvin, you bring in Jimmy Graham, Marshawn Lynch, you re-up him on his money. And it's like Russ is like some pedestrian dude who everybody's wondering was he worth the contract. Not everybody. A lot of people were worrying if he was worth the contract. He's getting criticism from the people on the sideline, his coaches. And then you take all those dudes away. You trade away Percy Harvin. Jimmy Graham gets hurt. Marshawn Lynch gets hurt. Thomas Rawls gets hurt. And the next thing you know, Doug Baldwin becomes Jerry Rice before our eyes. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. And, you saw Adrian Peterson over there praying on the sideline after he fumbled that football. And apparently, God hates Adrian Peterson. You know what? Speaking of Adrian Peterson, he sat down with Josina Anderson the other day. I didn't see the interview. I saw part of it in the story. And the story that was written about it today. And I don't know, man. The whole thing, and I said this when it happened, the whole thing about the abuse case that he went through with his son, I don't know if the appalling part was the age of the boy or if it was because of the era that we're in America, or it's because the white media has a certain perception of that type of thing, and they don't. It seems barbaric and more than what it is. But I can tell you something, man. Everybody I know got them stories. Like black mamas, like dudes get hit with iron cords, with extension cords. I told you a story last week about a dude getting beat with a fan belt from an old car. Then there's the belt, then there's the shoe, then there's stuff getting thrown at you. And I understand. It may be a combination of all those things that I mentioned earlier. And I understand that it's a different day. But the problem I had with it is when it happened and all these black sports analysts that sat on those ESPN desks. And no one's asking anybody to defend Adrian Peterson, but bring forward some relatability to it. You know what I mean? Like, if you got all those young, poor black kids, those people who were young, poor black kids before they became millionaires through football on a panel or sitting behind a desk, and none of them ever caught no ass whipping like that? None of them? The bus from Detroit. Like, Brian Dawkins from the damn country in South Carolina, I think. None of y'all ain't catch no ass whipping like that? Come on, man. Bring some perspective to the table. Don't just jump on that whole condemn this dude bandwagon. Now, I've heard the stories about Adrian Peterson being an idiot when it comes to like a big ogre and not understanding how strong he is and not understanding his own strength. Yeah, okay, that's a thing. And like, I wasn't there, nobody was there to see this kid get his ass whooped. You know what I mean? Nobody knows what the kid did. And this, again, we're in a different time. Justifying something like that ain't really the thing. But it took now a year and something later, right? It took for crazy ass Mike Dicker to basically be like, yeah, my dad told my ass up like that all the time, and I couldn't thank him more for it. I appreciate him for doing it now. And I'm like, man, that's all it took. Like, you ain't saying it's right today, But what you're saying is you can understand that that's what that dude attributes. And he said this, as a matter of fact. Adrian Peterson, at the time it happened, he attributes that type of discipline. He attributes that to keeping him out of some of the trouble that he could have gotten into on his path to becoming the best running back in the NFL. That's all I'm saying, man. It don't take for you to have to be like, yeah, Greg Hardy was right to whoop that girl's ass, or Adrian Peterson was right, or Ray Rice should have knocked her ass. Nah, you ain't got no, just general, because that's what happens. You lump all those things in. As soon as you say you understand what happened with Adrian Peterson, or you can relate to that, then you become the guy who is accepting of everything. You know, all the apples, as much as it can be apples and oranges, no one cares. No one gives a damn. All right, I got to move on so we can get up out of here. And then you had yesterday the Packers and the Redskins, and another great quarterback versus average quarterback matchup. And you give me that, dude, I'm always going to take the best quarterback. Especially in that scenario, playoff-wise, I don't give a damn if Jordy Nelson ain't there. I ain't give a damn if the Adams boy ain't been catching balls, and Randall Cobb ain't look like Randall Cobb, and Eddie Lacy keep getting fatter. I don't care. It's this damn Aaron Rodgers and this Kirk Cousins. You know, that's it. And I'm not the dude that says I'm very much against like quarterbacks getting wins as a stat. He has this many wins on his resume. No. But if you're the quarterback, if your team has the better quarterback, give me that. And the experience, give me that. Every time out the box. You know what I found funny yesterday in this Redskins game? That Deshaun Jackson play when he thought he scored, and I was really hoping that they lost by like 4 points too. You know what I mean? When he didn't score, and then the Packers came back and held them to a field goal from the 1 yard line. You know, I tweeted it yesterday at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE on Twitter and on Instagram. I tweeted it. Like, we've always, like, in college, me playing college ball, we were always taught, regardless of what happens, how long a play it is, if you get an opportunity to make the offense line up and run another play, you always make them line up and run another play. And that is exactly why. Because anything can happen. Penalties, you start dropping guys in the backfield for losses, all those kind of things. And then it gives your team as a whole a lift. And you saw it play out just that way. That team got a lift from that. And as Deshaun Jackson, just a week earlier, talking about Chip Kelly getting fired and it being karma. I love when people who believe in karma, when bad things happen to them. Now, what do you attribute that to then? You know what I mean? You being scary? Because because you could have sacrificed your body and got inside that pylon and not been a little punk about it. You know, and if you've watched Deshaun Jackson play long enough and you saw him come down here to Atlanta and get almost murdered by what's that boy's name? Dante. What's that boy's name that the Falcons got from the Texans? That cornerback that played at South Carolina. Dante. Y'all know who I'm talking about with the dreads. Anyway, when he almost murdered that dude when he was with the Eagles, Deshaun Jackson don't seek no damn contact ever. He's like $170, soaking wet. And this time it cost him. And I just wish it would have cost him more, to be honest with you. So on the NFC side, you're going to see you're going to see the Seahawks go down to Charlotte and take on Cam. That's going to be awesome. Awesome. And if Marshawn can come back, even more awesome. It doesn't look like Jonathan Stewart's going to be able to play because he just went and saw a foot specialist today. So it looks like he's going to be kind of doubtful for that, but whatever. Then you got Aaron Rodgers, Carson Palmer. They're going to be playing that thing down at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Phoenix. All about that life. Like, we get to see some real quarterbacks play, except for Alex Smith. But, you know, you got to throw like one bad apple in there, don't you? As we get ready for the kickoff of the college football playoff or the finals, the championship game, the national championship game between Alabama and Clemson. Let's talk about that real quick here. I told you guys before, I'm not going to sit here and break this damn game down. You know, ESPN's going to have it on 1 million channels. On all, you get to see coaches break the game down. You get to see the Bama call. You get to see the Clemson radio call. I mean, here, or I don't know how they're going to do that, but it's like a million. It's going to be simulcasted like in a million places. If you don't see this game tonight, like ESPN just hasn't done their job. And the thing is, they got to figure this thing out because the ratings have been way down. I think like 16% lower or 13%, something like that, lower than they've been ever. Ticket prices, even the ticket prices, under $1,000, under $700, $675 average. The lowest they've been in the last 5 years. So this whole, we got to have a playoff thing, and y'all ain't watching. And logistically, it's just bad. If you are an Alabama fan or a Clemson fan, you had to travel twice in 11 days to see your team play, and pay an exorbitant amount of money for hotel, or if you're driving like an RV to gas that thing up, then ticket prices. Yeah. It seemed like it was a whole lot more simple in theory than it actually is. We got about 10 minutes here, so let me talk about. I talked about Jake Coker. I just think he's the linchpin, and I think Clemson's gonna win the ball game, man. I think it's way too easy to shut down Derrick Henry. Excuse me. Travis Henry's a different guy, by the way, from a long, long time ago. Derrick Henry. And then put the pressure on Jake Coker, man, to duplicate the performance he had last week against a better team this year, in my opinion. So we'll see if it plays out that way. I'm not the guy who's like, I told you, this was going. I have no way of knowing what that kid is made of and how he's going to perform. I just don't. From what I saw of him this year, I just don't think he has it in him to do that twice. Lightning don't strike twice in the same place. Let's get to this thing about Don Yee. You say, who the hell is Don Yee? Well, Don Yee is probably most notably as Tom Brady's agent, right? And he has some very pointed things to say about this game tonight. He actually suggests that both of these teams boycott this game to flex a little power, flex a little muscle, especially when the ratings and the organization around the games are struggling a little bit financially, more so than they thought they would be. Now, obviously, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But here are some of the points he makes, as we have about 8 minutes before we got to get up out of here before this game starts and gets really into it. He said the players on both teams should boycott the game to protest the racial. He's taking it there. The racial injustices of the NCAA and the fact that college athletes do not get paid. This per I guess something that he wrote. He penned it in the Washington Post over the weekend. By refusing to pay athletes, the NCAA, this is a quote, by refusing to pay athletes, the NCAA isn't just perpetuating a financial injustice, it's also committing a racial one, end quote. And he starts pointing to some of the statistics. He says a small number of white coaches, administrators, and executives profit widely from what the hell is going on tonight, what happened in March with the basketball situation. And here are the numbers financially behind this game. Like I said, I told you I wasn't going to break down no damn game, but there's some stuff auxiliary-wise around this game that, we should know while we're enjoying it and rooting and we're tweeting and memeing things, that the crazy things that happen in this game. And by the way, not Jimbo Fisher, what's his kid's name? Dabo Sweeney. He's the one who said, if these kids make $1, this guy who makes $3.3 million a year, if they make $1, I'll quit coaching. What kind of what? Really, my man? It's that important? Like, your power is predicated on the fact that you got guys who are essentially powerless, that you hold the power over them when it comes to the scholarships, their education, things like that. Shout out to my guy Matt. Look, man, Stephen A. Smith don't want this day. I guess Matt heard Friday's. He listened to Friday's episode, man. And I appreciate you for doing it too, bro. But on my take on Stephen A. Smith and him seeing hooded white men everywhere he turns now, and they're all around the NFL, and it got nothing to do with dudes not doing the damn job, in a different climate, NFL wise, where ain't nobody got no time to wait. Everybody want it now. They seeing these teams get turned. Like, look what Andy Reid did in with Alex Smith in Kansas City. Everybody's looking for that. Like, I don't give a damn. You got bum quarterback? Figure it out. And Andy Reid was like, yeah, okay, I'll figure it out. Sweet. Your running back, your all-pro running back gets hurt? Figure it out, fat boy. And he figured it out. These dudes ain't lost a game in like 2 months or something, 2-3 months. Meanwhile, Lovey, your defensive coach, hangs his hat on defense. Every year the defense is giving up more points with all-star talent. So there's that. Anyway, back to this Don Yee situation. It talks about the people who are getting paid on this game and the rest of these playoff games and bowl games. Yeah, they're white. Since 1951, the head of the NCAA has always been a white man. Of the Power 5 conferences, none of them, going back to freaking Prohibition, the 1920s, has ever had a non-white commissioner. So while, speaking of Stephen A. Smith, while a couple weeks ago he's screaming and hollering, we don't have no black coaches. It's bigger than that, cuz. It's way bigger than that. You know what I mean? The fact that there are black coaches, yeah, that's one thing. But the leadership roles have been devoid for 100 years of anything even resembling color. No pigment in anybody's skin. Yeah, stop shooting at small birds, cuz. Go big game hunting if you're going to go. As we get ready to wrap up here, we got about 5 minutes left. They're taking the field right now. Where are they? They University of Phoenix? Yeah, for the national championship game. As they get ready to kick that thing off, I'll finish this up here quickly. Let me give the rest of these stats real quick. A 2015 study by the University of Central Florida's Institute of Diversity and Ethics in Sports found that 86.7% of athletic directors in the NCAA are white as well. Yeah, that's damn near 90%, cuz. And I guarantee you, the ones who ain't white, yeah, guess where they're not? Not at Alabama, Ohio State, the big boys. Yeah, go check. Somebody go check Eastern Carolina. And, Georgia State and those, I don't know if they're white or black, to be honest with you, at those schools, but I'll be willing to bet. Yeah, it's from the lower tier ballers or schools, whatever, same thing, right? Speaking of, the NCAA, of course, would argue that those athletes are students. Sure there are. And they're paid via scholarships and education. That's why I used to hate when I was in school and people would say, I mean, what you complaining about? You going to school for free? Really? That's what you think? You think they'll make me earn every damn red cent of this damn scholarship? Yeah, you're a fool. Because let me choose not to do what they want me to do, or take a class that they don't want me to take, and watch what happens. Watch how quick that free turns into me actually coming out my pocket. Hell out of here, man. And then transfer rules. Yeah, you want to take up and move to another university? Good luck. Yeah, you're screwed. There was something I wanted to talk about, and I might pick this up again on Wednesday when I get back. But something I wanted to talk about like this whole thing where, like, now we found out today that Nick Saban, he's withholding the assessments from the NFL for his players so they can focus more on tonight's game. Come on, man. These dudes are adults. Like, I don't care, give a damn how much we call them kids or whatever. They're young adults. Allow them to handle certain things. It's just like, is that Sierra singing the national anthem? Oh, man. That boy Russ has done a lot for her profile, man. I'm going to go ahead and say that real quick. Yeah. Because when she was dating Bow Wow and Future, ain't nobody know who she was. No, nobody knew. That boy Russ has done, yeah. Let me upgrade you. He's upgraded. That is her, I think. If it's not, it's some other, pretty brown skinned girl, but it looks like Sierra to me on my TV here. Where was I? Oh, and like the whole thing about, you have to let us monitor your social media if you're a player here, or you can't go to these bars because, people gonna try you and all this kind of stuff. Now, for those people who feel like, athletes shouldn't get more loot or whatnot, or get a part of the loot because it'll be unfair to regular students. I'm gonna ask you this before I go: how many regular students, like does the head of the English department tell some English student that she has to let him follow her on Twitter, or that during the semester in which she takes his class, she has to delete her Twitter account? The answer would be no, by the way. No. So the special treatment, it stops for everybody. Everybody like puts their hand down when it's of a positive nature, as far as giving kids money or paying them money or allowing them to make money through like their likeness and those type of things. But it goes back up when you say, well, yeah, I want the quarterback from my favorite team to be on the field. So you damn right he shouldn't be able to go to the bar, to the club on the weekend, or he shouldn't be able to tweet what he wants to, or say what he wants to on his social media. Yeah, all you damn hypocrites is what you are. You believe in unpaid labor. Screw y'all, man. This ain't that. And one day these kids, they gonna figure out a way. This might not be the stage to do it, like Na'Yi is saying. By sitting out or protesting this championship game, this might not be the way to do it, but they'll figure it out. You know, they're getting closer. You know, with the whole unionizing situation, the stuff at Missouri, they're getting close to realizing what they can and what they should do in order to get things a little bit more evened out. You know what I mean? Look who's there, Mark Ingram. Anyway, that's going to do it for tonight, man. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and enjoy this football game. I'm going to enjoy it as well. Come back on Wednesday. I'll talk a little bit about it and whatever else comes to mind. Mark Ingram's a midget. Anyway, man, this One Mic with Big Mike. Spreaker.com is where I'm being heard. And on the Spreaker app, make sure you guys follow me on Spreaker and on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. And on Facebook.com/ONE MICWITHBIGMIKE. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday.